Give me a match.
Sorry, I never carry them.
What? You said I'd like him.
But I do have a lighter.
You're quite right, Mayhew. I do like him. Thank you. Can you imagine Miss Plimsoll's face if she saw me now?
Then let's make absolutely sure that she doesn't.
Splendid. With all the instincts of a skilled criminal.
Thank you, sir.
Here. Young man, you may or may not have murdered a middle-aged widow, but you certainly saved the life of an elderly barrister.
I haven't murdered anybody. It's absurd. Christine, that's my wife, she thought I may be implicated and that I needed a lawyer. That's why I went to see Mr. Mayhew. Now, he thinks he needs a lawyer, and now I have two lawyers. It's rather silly, don't you know?
Mr. Vole, I am a solicitor. Sir Wilfrid is a barrister. Only a barrister can actually plead a case in court.
Oh, I see.
She shall not even find the ashes. Sit down.
Oh, thank you. Well, I saw in the paper that poor Mrs. French had been found dead with her head bashed in. And it also said in the papers that the police were very anxious to interview me since I'd visited Mrs. French that evening. So, well, naturally, I went along to the police station.
Did they caution you?
I don't quite know. They asked me if I'd like to make a statement and said that they'd write it down and that it might be used against me in court. Would that be cautioning me?
Well, it can't be helped now.
Well, they were very polite and they seemed quite satisfied.
They seemed satisfied, Mr. Vole. He thinks that he made a statement and that's the end of it. Isn't it obvious to you, Mr. Vole, that you will be regarded as the principal and logical suspect in this case? I'm very much afraid you'll be arrested.
But I've done nothing. Why should I be arrested? I mean, this is England. You don't get arrested or convicted for something you haven't done.
We try not to make a habit of it.
But it does happen, though, doesn't it? Of course. There was that case of that fellow, what's his name, Adolf Beck or Becker. He'd been in jail for 8 years, and they suddenly found it was another chap altogether. He'd been innocent all along.
Very unfortunate, but restitution has been made. He received a free pardon, a bounty from the Crown, and was restored to his normal life.
Yes, that's all right for him. But what if it had been murder? What if he'd been hanged? How would they have restored him to his normal life then, huh?
Mr. Vole, you must not take such a morbid point of view.
I'm sorry, it's just when you tell me that all these things are closing in on me, it's like a nightmare.
Relax, Mr. Vole. I'm putting you in the hands of the finest and most experienced barrister in London.
Now, Mayhew, let's get this straight. I may have done something highly unethical. I've taken your cigar, and I'm not taking your case. I can't. I'm forbidden. My doctors would never allow it. I'm truly sorry, young man. However, if you'd like the case handled by someone in these chambers, I'd recommend Mr. Brokenmore. Well, you know Brokenmore.
Yes, I do. A very able man. I second Sir Wilfrid's recommendation.
All right, sir, if you say so.
Hold this. Carter?
Yes, sir?
I would like to see Brokenmore here as soon as he comes in from court.
Very well.
Sir Wilfrid, I have never known such insubordination. No, not even when I was a nurse in the front lines during the war.
What war was that? The Crimean War, no doubt. You like Brokenmore. He's an excellent training. Under me.
This morning I had no lawyers at all, and now suddenly I have 3 lawyers. Well, perhaps we should explain to Sir Wilfrid that I have very little money. I shan't be able to pay all the costs and fees.
Don't worry, we'll get a 4th lawyer to sue you.
Well, he won't get very much, I'm afraid. I haven't had a job in 4 months.
What sort of work do you do?
Well, my last job was as a mechanic with a motor servicing firm. And the foreman kept riding me all the time. I took it as long as I could, and then I quit.
And before that?
I worked in a department store in toys, demonstrating children's building sets. Of course, that lasted only during the Christmas rush. And before that, I had a job testing electric blankets.
Electric blankets?
I suppose you're thinking I'm a bit of a drifter, sir. Well, it's true in a way, but I'm really not like that. Doing my Army service unsettled me a bit, that and living abroad. I was stationed in Germany. It was fine there, though. That's where I met Christine, my wife. She was an actress, and a good one. She's a wonderful wife to me, too. But I haven't been much of a provider, I'm afraid. Somehow or other, I just don't seem to be able to settle down now that I've come back to this country. Of course, if I could just put my egg beater across.
Egg beater?
Yes, sir. I'm a bit of an inventor. Well, nothing big, just little household things. Pocket pencil sharpeners, keychain flashlights, and that sort of thing. But my best is really this egg beater. You see, it not only beats the egg, but it also separates the yolk from the white.
Is that really desirable?
If you were a housewife, Sir Wilfrid, you'd see it right away. The only trouble is that I need money for manufacturing and promotion.
I was really hoping that that's what Mrs. French might do for me after I met her.
Oh. Exactly how did you meet this Mrs. French?
Well, that's rather funny in itself. It was the 3rd of September. I remember distinctly because it's my wife's birthday. I was window shopping in Oxford Street, just sort of daydreaming about what I'd buy for her, if I had any money.
You really like this one?
Oh, very much.
You don't think it's too mad?
Mad? Not at all. A little daring, perhaps. I wouldn't recommend it to every woman, but you, why shouldn't you attract some attention?
Oh, you really think so?
Absolutely. But if I could suggest one little thing,
Yes.
perhaps we could tip it and bring it back a bit like that. Show more of your face. There. My bus. Goodbye.
Oh, good.
You buy that hat. I insist. Actually, it was a ridiculous sort of hat, a silly thing with ribbons and flowers.
I'm constantly surprised that women's hats do not provoke more murders. Go on, please.
Well, I was only trying to be nice to her, to make her feel good. I never dreamed that I'd see her again, or the hat.
But you did.
Yes, a few weeks later, again quite by accident. I was peddling my egg beaters that afternoon, and business was a little slow. Would you mind, madam, your hat? Oh, it's you.
No! It's your fault, you know. You chose it yourself. May I?
Sure, if you like.
Thank you. Such a bother taking it off and putting it back on again.
That chap on the white horse is called Jesse James. Those others have led him into this ambush. It's not at all cricket.
Don't worry, Mr. James shoots his way out.
We does.
I've seen it before. I go to the movies quite a lot.
You do?
Oh, I get so restless at home, so I go out, and then I find I've really no place to go, so I go to the movies. Sometimes I see the same one 2 or 3 times.